Hello everyone, and welcome to my setup video for my Retro Rentals game series, I guess. They're going to be little Let's Plays of every game made and released for the North American market of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, I got this idea from Basher, that some of you may know. During his childhood, he did not get to play the Nintendo side of things quite as much as he may have liked. And he may yet still play through many of these games. And he wants to go through and experience them for the first time. Now, I have played quite a few Nintendo games, and I enjoy them quite a bit. But I'm going to go ahead and stick to his original idea of playing them in a limited time frame, which usually is going to be 1 or 2 days, maybe a weekend. And I'm going to try to do it for each game in the series as I go along. Some games will be a little longer than others, like Duck Hunt only took a couple videos to get done. Something like the original Final Fantasy or the Dragon Warrior, those are going to take a little longer, and I'm probably not even going to be able to finish them. But I'm going to do my best to show you a good example of gameplay, whether I fail at it totally, or whether we go through and completely finish the game. So, in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the Nintendo system. It was originally released in Japan in 1983. It was named the Family Computer and usually abbreviated as the Famicom or Famcom, or just FC. It was released a year later in North America and then the PAL version in Europe and Australia. There was another version released in South Korea known as the Hyundai Comboy. And along with those were many unlicensed clones. The Dendy was the Russia version. The Little Master or the Whiz Kid were from India. The Pegasus was in Poland. The Family Game, as it was known in Argentina. And then China and Southeast Asia released the Micro Genius as a direct competition to the Famicom. And then there was another PAL game called the Samurai, or game system, I guess. Because the whole point of the Nintendo Entertainment System that really brought it out of obscurity, and I think really kept the game system, the game marketing going, was the introduction of the third-party game developer standard. We take it kind of granted today that the games are made by people different from who made the consoles, but back then it was a pretty big leap. Now, the physical construct of the Famicom was quite a bit different than what you see here for the North American and PAL versions. The Famicom was white with a dark red trim. It had a top-loading cartridge slot like the Super Nintendo had, and it had little slots on both sides to hold the controllers. As you can see here, the North American version has 2 shades of gray with a black trim. It has that hinged side scrolling, or side opening for the game cartridge, and the controllers were just left to plug in and do whatever. The games themselves also had a big difference. The Famicom versions were much shorter and fatter, wider. They also had 60 pins inside. Now, the North American version that you see here has a little taller, a little narrower, and came with 72 pins. I read on the Wikipedia site that a lot of the direct imports from 60 pins were just, they had inboard cartridge converters in the cartridges that would convert from 60 to 72 pin for North American imports. Now, the system itself uses 1.79 megahertz for the CPU. This is for North America and the Famicom. Now, Europe and Australia only get 1.66 megahertz. And do note that this is mega. This is not the gigabytes that we have, or the gigahertz that we use in our massive computer machines now. To put that even more perspective is that this system had a total of 2 kilobytes, 2 of RAM, and it could use up to 32 of ROM, which is read-only memory, for like saving the states until you turn it off type thing. Now, each of the cartridges also optionally came with around 8 kilobytes of SRAM, which I assume were used for like saves and stuff. It also used 2 kilobytes of video RAM for its picture processing unit. If you want to know more about the specs of the game, you can go to Wikipedia like I did and read up in much more in depth and see all the technical specifications of the audio and the video and such. It also has a good read about some of the hardware limitations, about keeping your ROMs clean, how we all had to blow in them constantly to try to make them connect properly, and it's just one of those things that we all remember doing. So, that all out of the way, there's one last thing I would like to talk to about this before we move on to our games. Now, I'm going to be playing the games in ROM version on an emulator. Now, if I had a lot of money, I could go out and buy the physical cartridges, probably through eBay. They're considered antiques now. They're much harder to find. And any money that you would give towards a game wouldn't be going to a game developer anyway. So I'm not too worried about copyright issues here. If I do run into copyrights, I will take down the videos and we'll just skip on to something else new. Hopefully I can get enough of the videos that aren't having an issue and go under fair right and all that fun stuff, that it will be a nice, entertaining, long series of games. And I hope you enjoy them. So, until then, I will go start the next video.